Well, hello everyone, welcome back guys. Hope you all are doing well. This is Mohammad Badruddin and today we are going to solve lab number 2 from Web Cache Poisoning Vulnerability module from Web Security Academy. Before going further, this little disclaimer as always for you. This video and its content are only for educational and awareness purpose and I do not support any unethical or illegal act. That's been said, in the previous lab we exploited the vulnerability which is Web Cache Poisoning Vulnerability with an unkeyed header. But in today's lab, we are going to exploit this vulnerability by or with an unkeyed cookie. So before going further, let's see what is the agenda today. So this lab is vulnerable to web cache poisoning because cookies are not included in the cache key. That means the cache is not going to identify the request by the cookies. So that's why it is known as unkeyed cache. An unsuspectable user regularly visits the site's homepage. To solve this lab, poison the cache with a response that executes alert 1 in the visitor's browser. That means we need to first of all identify which cookie we need to use and how we can get the malicious response from the server. Then that malicious response is going to be poisoned in the cache, and then anyone or any user visit with the same request to the same endpoint, it is going to get the response from the cache which contains the malicious response having this JavaScript alert. So whenever the page is loaded on the user end, he is going to get the alert. Fine, so this is our lab 1. I already open up the burp suite here, so I'm going to enable the burp proxy on my browser and I'm going to manage this a bit so that we can see both of these windows simultaneously. Come on. Okay, fine. So now let's see, just click on home button and here we get the request. So the request is pretty normal, not normal. Why? Because in the cookie we see, if we see closely, we found two cookies. First is session cookie and another one is some kind of custom cookie which is fee host, and the value of this cookie is prod cache 1, means production cache 1. Fine, and if we see the response, so we will find in the response cache control maximum age is 30. That means every after 30 seconds the cache is going to be cleared. So as you can see, this time once we first time make a request, so we get miss here. That means this response we did not get from the cache. Okay, we get that response from the server directly, but the copy of this response is already saved in the cache. So next time once we request again or anyone request to the same endpoint or same URL within the 30 seconds, that guy is going to get the response from the cache. And another important part here is this. This is data. First of all, it is enclosed with the script tag. So that means any JavaScript in between this could be executed. And there is data which is in some kind of JSON format, you can say. Okay, so the host value is this, path is this, and this is the cookie, what we see in the request, right? Here, this one. Fee host and front end, but the value is same. So whatever the value of this cookie fee host in the request, you find the same value in the response, but the parameter here or the argument here is front end. So whatever is that, but we will check it. So for that I'm going to send this request to the repeater first. Go to the repeater. Here we have the request. Now just send the request again and we get miss here. This time if we send this request again, so we get a hit here, and as you can see, the second time once we requested, that is on the 6th second, and if we send again 17th second and still we have hit, that means we are getting this response from the cache. But the thing here is I doubted this point, this value. Okay, so let's try to change this value. So instead of 1, if I make 2 and hit send, we get miss here. That means this response is directly coming from the server, but the copy of this response is already saved in the cache. So second time when I send this request again, we get a hit. That means this response now we get from the cache, and if we scroll down, we can see the value of this front end is changed, same as the cookie value of fee host. So I change it from 1 to 2, and here you can see the same request. And because this is already enclosed within the script, so we can execute the JavaScript. But first of all, I just want to be sure. Send this, we got miss here. Send again, we got hit here, and the value is still changed. So I'm going to just refresh it here. Let's see if on the page we get some kind of nothing is there. Everything seems normal. Fine. So what I mentioned in the previous lab, that whenever you are going to test web cache poisoning, until you completely tested the vulnerability and exploited that vulnerability, make sure that the end user not get affected. So what I do here is we try some endpoint, some random endpoint. Let's say cybersec, send it, and 404 not found. So I make this endpoint to a parameter, and let's say its value is radar, and send it. Now you can see the response is okay. Now with this URL you can test, and rest of the user will not request this URL, they will just request /. So no one is going to be affected, and you can independently test. Okay, now let's change this a bit. If we don't put anything here, let's see what we get here. So you can see if we do not put anything here, we get 2 double quotes. That means whatever we are going to put here, we will get that value in between these 2 quotes. So what if I put just one double quote and send it? So actually that's come from the cache, so you can see the value does not change. Send it again, and this time it's not coming from the cache, but it's stored in the cache. And as you can see, now that single quote what we put is inside these 2 single quotes. If I say alert happy hacking should be enclosed in a single quote. Okay, let's just send this again. Miss, and as you can see, the value is already enclosed in the double quotes, so it will treat this value independent, not between this single quote, double quotes, sorry. Okay, so let's try one more time. And 222nd, I'm going to right click here, copy URL, come here, paste that, hit enter. So you can see here that the endpoint is with the parameter cybersec radar, and we did not get here any alert. That means it's not working. So let's test something else. What if we do something like this? Send this again, Okay, we get it here, and just refresh it because the URL is same. And we did not get any hit. Let's see. Okay, send that again. Okay, still 2 seconds are left. Now the cache is clear and we get the response directly from the server, but the response is also saved here. So if any user now from this endpoint will try to access, and yes, this time you can see this payload worked and we get the alert here. Okay, that means we poisoned the cache successfully and the end user is getting the poisoned response here. Fine. So now it's time to do the real attack for the genuine end users. So the payload is already worked. We are not going to change anything and just send that. I'm going to open a new private browser and I'm going to copy the URL and just send that. Paste it, hit enter, and attack is successful. Fine. And we solved the lab. What? Because here they mentioned that we need to execute alert 1. But we did not execute here alert 1. We executed something else. Maybe they just mean to execute the alert function. Whatever the value inside alert doesn't matter. You just need to execute the alert function. That's it. So we already sent the alert and we solved the lab. So that's it for this video. I hope you understand the lab and the concept. If you have any query, please put your query in the comment section. See you in the next video. Bye.